Okay, so here's what the deal is. Well, you've got a podcast with five different people, and for some odd reason, one of their audio streams decides to crap the bed and not allow any more recording on it. Easy way to say that is something happened and their recording stopped. Luckily, I record two different tracks. And let me just show you real quick what I use just to kind of give you some insight to that. Let's flip over to the desktop. Let's get rid of some of that. Got Final Cut up. I use Audio Hijack. And going to my sessions here, I usually use Skype. And in this, I've got two records going. I've got my microphone. I use an ATR 2100 Audio Technica, which I find to be an awesome mic. It has both USB and XLR outs, which is kind of nice to have that kind of wiggle room. Usually I have headphones in so you don't see internal speakers, but that is recording just an Apple lossless version of just what's coming off the microphone. This Skype one here is going, and that's actually a preset that they have that Rogue Amoeba puts in there with Hijack for recording my side on the left and the rest of the conversation on the right side. It's my backup. Two is one. If I lost one of those, I'd rather lose my solo mic, but it gives me the ability to at least provide coverage for my guests. So that's a simple way of looking at how I record. And tonight's interlude is brought to you by Newcastle. I was going to get Racer 5, but sometimes Racer 5 is just a bit, it's not that so strong, just it doesn't always have the best aftertaste in the world. I want something a little bit more flavorful and drinkable. Is that a thing? It might be. So, as you can see here, I've already done a synchronization of all tracks, and this is where I noticed that there was a problem. You can see everybody's track keeps going and Devin's dies. Now, Devin was using Audio Hijack, and he was using I believe Adobe Audition or something of that nature, and it crapped without even letting him know, which I find to be rude, because if you're going to crap out as a piece of software, you might as well put up a warning that you stopped. It happens. What are you going to do? Anyway, so we won't blame him too badly, but we have all the tracks synchronized up. I'll even play some of that out.
Dude, that place is a pit. You know, I mean, it looks like it would.
And you can hear that little bit of an echo. It just means things aren't exactly at the same clocking speed. But for what we're doing right now, that's fine. That's all we need. I have marked off all of, I don't know if I showed this before, and it's probably important to show. And I think I might have. I applied rules, or I should say roles, not rules, roles to each of the audio tracks. Usually, this one right here, which is dialogue, I usually don't export. In this particular case, though, I need to, but I need to do it in a specific way. I need to export myself out, or I should say, mute myself and export that right channel as a mono track. So what I'm going to do is I will take, go up here to the audio. It's going to show me some waveforms in just a second here. I have not been able to update to the newest Final Cut. It's a long story. But I can see that that's probably me, and I can test that out and find out.
At the time, but again, if you have
sounds like me. I will simply disable that, and you can see right there in that pattern, it is everybody else.
Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Now you can hear me right there, but let me just prove it to you. I'm gonna mute that.
I kind of felt that being the truest.
Okay, that's Sean echoing against himself. No big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and unmute myself here, and I want everything I see. Let's just make sure that Sean recorded just himself. Because he did record his stereo, so that always makes me a little curious. See, I take that one down, which I believe to be everybody else, and I think I've got just Sean.
Kind of felt like notes after pilot. If that makes sense. Like,
It's always a good thing to see if you're when you're looking at your waveforms and it doesn't have a whole lot of dip in there and spacing. It's probably you're getting a sum file. Just a good idea to know when you're looking at waveform, because sometimes it can be, not daunting per se, but it had I not known what I was looking at, I just figured, oh, okay, well, he's just got a lot of sound in there. And some people's microphones do pick up an abundance of sounds. But if you don't see troughs, check out that audio and be a little bit suspect of it. Okay, so I've got everybody kind of about right in here. I think that's probably a good place to cut. Do a Shift Apple B, which will cut down right down my timeline all the way down. It gives me a nice even in point for when I bring into Logic. I'll unmute that track.
They give you a little bit of
No agendas, no Alice Morgan. And John?
That's what I want. That's Devin's voice, but Devin's not there, so now I have Devin. It's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to have to do a little bit more editing than I normally would, but it's okay. Luckily, his audio was clean when I was recording it. It's not, the fidelity's obviously not going to be all the way there, but it'll be there enough that I feel confident with it. So I will now take all of this and do a little exportation. It's master file. Now this is where things are going to get a little trickier, because I am exporting out in real time with you this time. I was kind of just demoing it before. Now we're going to do it for real. So here's what I'm going to do. I want my roles as AIF. That's fine. I want audio only as separate files. Now, usually I get rid of dialogue. This time I'm not. But I am going to monetize every little thing here. 4.3 gigs, just to let you know. I'm going to bring them over to the desktop. I am going to make a new folder. What I like to call these, let's say, STEM Luther Season 2, EP 1 through 2. And save them up. And I can go over here and actually take a look and see how the export's going. here. I'm gonna go over to my Twitch real quick, real briefly. And I am streaming. Channel or video producer? I can never remember. No, it's not that one. It's video producer. No, it's not. Yep, there it is. Oh, look, I've got no viewers. Who would have thought? Okay, that's going right now. Let's end right here for a minute, and I'll come back after this is all done stewing, bring it into Logic, and do part 2. How about that? Sounds good to me.